I'm here with Ashlee Fegan, and I can't wait to hear a little bit more about that whole post that went viral. I'm sure many of you have heard about it. Tell us a little bit about, like, okay, let's give a little background.
Yeah.
So you received, or you saw your friend had posted this.
Yeah, it was actually in Mormon Enlightenment, right? She had posted the flyer, and it was given to her daughter in Young Women's. And so her daughter brought it home, she read it, and she was like, oh my gosh, no way, this is just too much, like, too rape culture, like, putting a lot of the like responsibility on the girls to dress a certain way so that the boys aren't having bad thoughts, right?
I'll show a little clip of
the
guidelines that they had on that paper for all the young women.
Right. So, yeah, I just was like, oh my gosh, no, this can't be, right?
Yeah. So
I, with her permission, posted it on my own personal wall, which I thought, you know, I'll probably have a few friends, you know, say something about it or whatever, but because I don't have that many friends on Facebook, but apparently it got into the right hands, and so it was shared a bunch of times. And so then I had like Scary Mommy, Romper, Upworthy, kind of just resharing the post, which didn't say anything like super like profound. You know, I just kind of expressed my concern, or my what's the word I'm looking for? My desire that my daughter wouldn't experience those type of things, you know?
Yeah.
So, and then eventually I had an editor from lovewhatmatters.com reach out and just say, like, we want more of your backstory. Like, why did this bother you so much? So that's when I was able to be like, well, this is my experience in the Mormon church. And and that's what, like, kind of where I told my story.
Yeah,
what I'm saying.
So tell us then
the story.
What was it that you wrote? Because that was really great what you wrote. So just now share it in the video for us, because it was so well thought out.
So I think, well, it's been, first of all, I'll say it's been like super empowering and like freeing to just speak my story and not, I mean, there's been moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Like, I'm airing all my dirty laundry. But I know there's a lot of people out there that have experienced the same thing as me, and so I thought it'll be fine. Like, it'll give people, like, who are feeling like they can't speak out, it'll like validate them, you know? So that story is, for me, like, a lot of my issues with the church don't have anything to do with like doctrine or historical issues. For me, I could care less if the Book of Mormon is true or not. Yeah. Because I feel like the culture that, you know, is toxic. Yeah. So, and what my experience was is just that, and I think why it got to me too is that I'm just like such a rule follower, like type A, like responsible people pleaser. Like, I'm gonna do everything, you know, everybody that's important to me tells me to do, which I was raised in the church, so you're hearing things from your parents and from the church leaders or whatnot, right? And so when I grew up in Young Women's, and just a lot of that shame of anything around sexual purity, you know, like, you just have to follow all these rules. And so I think some people out themselves too much. Like, I was overly like, I did this and I did this, you know? But yeah, so when I was 18 and a senior in high school, I had a boyfriend, and I was like, okay, this is it. Like, he's gonna be the one where, like, I follow all the rules, and I'm gonna do everything they say to do, and I'm gonna be better for it. So like, we honestly started dating like in January. I didn't even like kiss him till February, right? It's been like almost 2 months. And then that was like a peck, right? Yeah. Then by like April, we had gone to prom, and I was like, okay, like, I think it's been a long enough. Maybe I'll just like, I can French kiss him, you know, and that will be like our limits, right? Yeah. So I graduate from high school, and then that summer I moved to my own apartment, and by July we were totally having sex, right? I'm like, forget this sucks. I'm just gonna do what I want. Yeah. But there was always that in the back of your head, you know, like, oh my gosh, like, this is so amazing. We had a really great relationship. We got along really well. We were committed to each other. I mean, we were 18, so we were immature, but I feel like I wasn't like on the corner every Saturday, like, you know, hooking up with some random guy or whatever. You thought, I'm sure you thought you were in love with him. So. So yeah, in the back of your head, there's always like, this is fun, but oh my gosh, like I could be going to hell for this, or, you know, so it was always that back and forth, like, okay, well now we got to go to the bishop, like, but no, we don't, or whatever. So, that was July. I think by November, I had finally like gone into the bishop. I was like, hey, I gotta reconcile this. I gotta do what's right. And things are gonna get, like, we're gonna go in there together and we're gonna like fix the things that we've done wrong, right? Yeah. So I go into my bishop, and he's like, well, yeah, now we gotta have a church court. So I go to the church court, and it was totally not at all what I thought it would be. Like, it like caught me off guard. So like, just totally caught me off guard. I left there like with all these rules of like, you can see him once a week, you can talk to him once a week. Oh my God. So I went from like, and 18, I think you're kind of codependent, you know? Yeah. It was just traumatic. It was like my best friend that we spent all this time together. All of a sudden you're just like cut off, right? Yeah. And yet I wanted to do like what I thought was right, and what, you know, I didn't want to go to hell. Yeah. So anyways, we followed the rules or whatever for like 2 months, and then we're like, forget it again, right? Yeah. You know, we're not doing this. So, but the problem with, the thing that at that point though, is I came away from that church court just like feeling like I didn't deserve to be loved, you know? And that we'd already like damaged, like the relationship's damaged, there's no way to fix it, and you don't deserve to be loved anyways. It was kind of the message that I came away from that with. And so it just kind of like sabotaged our relationship, you know? Yeah. And so that eventually ended. But so when it ended, I obviously was like, okay, well, I got to go make things right again. So they put me through another church court, and that, at that point, I was disfellowshipped for a year. That's when I met, and around that same time too, I met my husband. So he, being the wonderful, amazing person he is, waited for me for that year. He was like at that time was a very like active, believing member of the church. So yeah, he waited that year while I was disfellowshipped. And we ended up getting, after they reinstated my membership or whatever you want to call it, then we ended up getting married in the temple. But it took me like 13 or 14 years into our marriage to realize how much like I held back. Like I still had that shame complex, even though like I was doing it in the right setting now, right? We were married. And over just this past summer, I actually read a book that was really validating called Pure. And it's actually written by a lady, her name is Linda K. Klein, but she was evangelical, but she's talking about the purity movement and how that can be damaging to women. But she talks about the brain, I guess like the brain chemistry of like when you pair like sex with shame, it doesn't just go away. Like once you start, even though like now we're doing it in the context that like the church says we can, you still have that, you know, like it's subconscious. Because I never realized, like my husband would say sometimes, I feel like you're holding back still. But I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like we're married now, it's fine, right? But it was his kind of like leaving the church for different reasons that gave me the space to go, maybe I'm not okay with what happened to me, and maybe it did damage me like more than I realized, you know? And so it was finally like just being able to accept and like embrace I was so angry about what they did to me, but you know, that like it kind of gave me validation. Like I was like, okay, maybe I'm not crazy, maybe this really was wrong, you know, and damaging. So that moment was maybe like a year and a half ago, where I was like, I got really angry one night, you know. But it's taken me a year and a half to really feel confident. I mean, I've kind of like been more open about it, and you know, would share in like small or private circles or whatever. But when this website contacted me about the dance flyer post, I was like, this is it. This is my moment. To speak my truth, right? So I went for it, you know, and that's
so cool.
I don't know, it's out there now.
Well, I love that. That's such a great story, and I'm just so excited that it did catch that kind of attention, because for you to be able to share that with so many people is really powerful. So many people I think have different kinds of experiences around this type of thing, and I think either they don't know that they are not alone in those feelings, or they have not figured it out yet. They don't know yet that what's holding me, what am I carrying? I don't know.
Like, I think that's one of the things that's almost like the most frightening about it is like you've been like traumatized and you don't even know you've been traumatized. Yeah. That's what's like scary about it, you know?
So I think it's really cool when somebody can express that into words, and I think as people read it, so many women are going to be like, that's what it is. That's what I feel is holding me back in so many ways. So I'm so happy that your story got out there for hundreds of thousands to read. Like,
and I've had people, like I've had multiple people messaging me being like, thank you for saying something. Like, I kind of have the same story, but I'm just not in a place where I can share publicly. But like, you're my like it's like you're my voice, you know, like I'm using you as my voice, kind of type thing.
And I think also what I've come to realize is that people don't even have the words to express it, and then they read it and like, I mean, it's like so empowering for them, but they have not yet been able to distinguish their own words to describe that at all. So to read somebody express their own experience, it's just like, I know how that feels. You know, you've read other people's stories and you're like, oh my gosh, like they put into words like my life or something, you know? So I'm just really happy that.
I think too, like when people say like, well, what's your motivation around this? Or I think, in fact, I've talked to my own dad about, you know, like he was there when all of that happened, and we've talked about it since then. And he's still, you know, a very active member of the church, but I just told him, I cannot chance that one of my kids will experience this. Like, I know, like it, and so it does sometimes take those painful experiences that we go through to protect our own children. You know what I mean? Like, so that's, you know, like one of my biggest motivations is just like, I don't want my kids to experience what I did.
Yes, and that's exactly why you posted that. You're like, not, what was it?
It just said, I think it said, no, nope, not my daughter or something. It wasn't even like super profound.
That was the first post that she did. She just shared the flyer, and it was like, no, not my kids.
Yeah.
And I think that is like a good mission to have, is like, we don't want that for our kids, you know. We don't want our kids to experience that kind of shame around something that's now taking years to deconstruct and remove from our
and honestly, like I am totally confident saying that I think it dang near could have cost me my marriage. You know what I mean? Like my husband and I have very open and honest communication, mostly because he's a really good listener. But I can totally see how that could just, you know, take things in a really bad direction. So
well, thank you so much, Ashlee. I'm just grateful to have you guys here and to hear your story. And
it's been awesome.
I love that so many other women can also hear your story.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.